Well, we came up on this 28-foot budget truck. Well, Mom had to swerve to go around me. So, of course it freaked me out. So I looked out the passenger window and I could see the little boy and his grandfather laying on the side. So I yelled at Mom and to stop. And, well, I bailed out and Kristen and Dad got out pretty much right behind me. Well, I got to the truck first. So I got the door open because it was laying on its side, so it was a little hard to get to it. But I asked if the little boy was all right, and he said yeah. So I got him out and had him climb down off my back. So we finally got him down, and he was just kind of beginning to freak out and just he was bleeding bad from his head.
And the little boy was standing beside me, and all that he had on him was just like a burn from the seatbelt, and he asked me if I could get his cell phone out of the truck. And we were kind of standing in the median at this time, and I went over to the truck to see. I thought the windshield maybe busted out. I could reach down in there to maybe get it. And there was traffic coming around on the outside median. I mean, the whole truck took up both lanes of traffic, and cars were coming around the outside median. And I even remember looking around, and there was cars lined up for miles. I was kind of standing up towards the front of the truck, and I remember looking back at Josh and saying, these tractor and trailers are flying around us. These people are flying around us.
And then the next thing I knew, it sounded like sticking dynamite.
All I remember is just metal and just being tossed like a rag doll. And I don't even know where I was at.
Next thing I knew, I was just reaching for the ground. I mean, I knew I was going through the air, but I didn't have a clue where I was going, what happened. So I was just reaching for anything that I could possibly get a hold of.
Josh was standing kind of towards the end of the budget truck, so it threw him. Me, I was up here, so it dragged me under the truck with the budget truck. And then the tractor and trailer went through the budget truck on hitting this other guy that stopped to help us his truck and pushed it all the way into the wire cables.
The wire cables only stopped him.
I came out from under the truck running because I thought he was dead. I thought Josh was dead.
I just remember looking to see if I could find any of them, and I couldn't see nobody. So I started then I could hear Dad eventually start yelling at me. So I started yelling back at him and trying to lead him in the direction that I was laying. Well, he come running down through the median and finally found me. You come up here and sit down beside me, didn't you? Because I couldn't get up. I was just laying flat on my back.
We didn't know where his mom was.
And
she was
so
in the vehicle.
Yeah, so I started telling Dad, you got to go check on Mom. Because it's an eerie feeling when you're standing there with your whole family, and then all of a sudden you can't see nobody. I mean, and everything's gone just in a split second. It's a whole nother. It's hard to explain.
We were almost killed. I mean, we could have been killed. And my first thought was Josh. Honestly, it was. I mean, I thought he was dead. I mean, honestly, in my heart, I remember thinking that in my head. That was my first thought, that he's dead. He's dead, because I didn't hear him holler back. It makes me teary-eyed, because, I mean, we could have been killed. We were in grass up to our knees. I thought it was just grass on the back of my leg, and so I was just trying to get it off. And when I looked down, I was cut all over my feet, all over my legs. I had, of course, a big cut on the back of my leg. I mean, my ankle was already the size of a softball. I mean,
it was bad. It looked horrible. Well, when I first landed, I had to kind of pull my left arm out from under me, because where I landed on it, I guess I don't know if it made it go numb or the shock of getting hit. I just couldn't feel it too good. Well, and I noticed I couldn't move my left leg. So me and Mom went back and forth and talked to the cruise line and done a lot of stuff, and had this big sign. I'm not sure exactly how big the sign was.
it was big.
It was pretty big. Made that said, "Kristen, will you marry me?" And so we done bought the tickets to go parasailing. And what my plans was when we get up there, they was gonna throw that sign out off the back of the boat while we was parasailing around it. And let's say that didn't work too well, but
No, because I had stitches and I had a drain in my leg and I was cut all up and down my legs and I was allowed to get more.
I had a brace from my hip to my ankle.
And I was in a wheelchair the whole time.
I was off and on.
For some reason we ended up still going on the cruise. I guess because he was going to propose and it was my first cruise, but it was...
Yeah, when we got to the emergency room, I told that doctor, I said, you hurry up, put a cast on me or do whatever you gotta do because I'm leaving. You know, of course, neither one of us is in good enough shape to really...
He couldn't get down on his knee because he had a brace on from his hip to his... And I was on a lot of pain medication. And so
they took us and put us in these chairs. We got out on this island and
they wheeled me out on this.
yeah, and I told Mom that morning before we left, I said, just give me the ring. I said, because I was aggravated about the wreck and I was hurt because I couldn't do it the way I wanted to do it. So I was just going to give it to her before we can let it. So we come up with a plan because she was asleep half the time we was out there anyway. So we just come up with a plan was, well, when we get out there, we'll get us in the shade and get us both in some chairs. And Mom and Dad will hang the sign up somewhere, you know, and I'll just wake her up.
You know that feeling that you get when somebody like all of a sudden wakes you up and your heart's beating really fast and you're like, oh my gosh, where am I at? That's what he did.
Scared her. So, and I said, what's that sign back there say? So while she was looking, I was trying to get that ring out of my pocket. And she said, and he said, what sign?
I said, what sign?
And I said, look back there behind you. I said, just look back there.
So I looked back there.
So then while she was doing that, I got the box open with the ring in it. And when she turned back around, I had the ring in my hand. Originally got back from the cruise, my job pretty much just let me go right on the spot. They just said they can't wait on me. I guess it was several months before I could actually get a job, you know, because I had to do physical therapy and because I couldn't control my left leg. It made it hard on us.
Yeah, it was hard. I mean, we went through several jobs and there were several jobs that friends of mine had gotten him and it didn't work out and it wasn't what they thought it would be and it caused turmoil between us and we weren't in the right place, we weren't in church, we weren't.
No.
We got pregnant and we didn't plan it and of course we were struggling, jobs, and we were so excited though.
Yeah.
And I remember having problems and us finding the heartbeat and then I was having some problems with it and finally they found the heartbeat and we didn't go back for another month and we went back and they didn't find the heartbeat.
There wasn't no heartbeat.
That was a turning point for me because that was devastating and to me I could tell that we needed to get our lives on track and 3 months later after lots of praying we were pregnant and 2 years later we've got a beautiful baby girl and we were able to move back home and
I think we actually went to church that our first Sunday.
Yeah, I feel like the Lord showed us this house up here for Uplift Church. I really do. I believe that. I've told Josh that from the day that we went to church up there, that first day. I remember we got out of church and we were like, oh my gosh, we love it. We love Uplift. And that first night, even when I was like, I want to make that my home church.
It's turned our life around.
Yeah. We never talked about Jesus at home or the Lord or
very rare.
With our, we just have a Christian home. We just have a Christian home. We didn't have that
every day.
Like actually just sat down and read my Bible. I mean, I was brought up in church, but once I got in high school, that kind of went away, and I feel like I've been saved for years, but it's just I want to grow as a Christian. I want to grow in the Lord's Word, and I'm just learning every day. I mean, just reading, and I've got tons of questions, but I don't understand everything, but I can read it and understand it. When I first started going to Uplift, I went to a doctor's appointment, and my mom had bought me just a little study Bible that I could, and this was just, well, when we first started moving here, I was sitting there reading my Bible, and there was this older lady that came up, and she was getting a magazine, and she looked at me and she said, I have never seen a young person as young as you sit there and read a Bible like that. She said, that's awesome to see, she said. Because you don't hardly ever see that. So, that makes sense.
We went from smiling and cutting up at a rest stop 3 miles before we got hit. You know, we didn't know 3 miles down the road that was going to happen. I mean, you never know. You know, so now we kind of look at life as like, it's precious. Because you really honestly do not know. You know, you always think, you know, yeah, I'm ready. You know, if something happens, I'm ready. But until you live through that, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain because it happens so fast. I mean, there's no time to pray. There's no time to, I mean, you second guess it. You're either ready or you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't ready that day. I wasn't. I wasn't ready. And I thank God that He didn't take us that day.
I'm Josh.
I'm Kristen.
And this is not the end.
It's just the beginning.